I love ground lamb and I love snow. And today I have both. So I'm going to make a meat sauce with the ground lamb, some canned tomatoes, and some warming spices. And it's based on a recipe from my book, Back Pocket Pasta. I realized that when I started doing this, that I don't actually have any of the ingredients that I need to do it with for the most part. So in true back pocket pasta fashion, I am going to shop my fridge and I'm going to shop my pantry. And you will be surprised how delicious this is going to be and how quick it comes together. And I bet you'll make it at home. My name is Colu Henry. I am the author of Back Pocket Pasta. And today we're going to be making a variation of a recipe in my book, which I didn't bring with me on this trip because I forgot to pack it. And we're going to be making a meat sauce with lamb instead of your traditional beef or veal or pork. And we're going to simmer it with some warming spices such as cumin and cinnamon and some canned tomatoes, some red wine, and it's going to be finished with some feta cheese and some torn mint, and it's going to be delicious. So the first thing I'm going to do is start chopping the aromatics. Normally I would kind of like put them in a food processor to get them really fine. I'm going to do the very best that I can. And you know what? If you don't get a fine dice, you don't get a fine dice. Dice with a nice dull knife. The next thing I'm going to do is cut up my red onion here. This is actually a shallot. It's a shallot. Fine. They're sweet. It's great. Yeah. I actually intended to use a shallot, but grabbed what I thought was a red onion. So we're doing great over here. Everything's growing well. And I actually, yeah, whatever. You use whatever you have. Back pocket pasta the hell out of this thing. So let's give this a fine dice as well. And we'll try to get the rest of everything going. Smash it like that with a knife. I had a chef tell me once that you should never hit your food, and I disagree. Chef, if you know who you are, I do, and you're out there and you see this, leave your name in the comments. Now we're gonna start assembling the sauce, and the first thing I'm gonna do is cook my lamb. I have to note that the name of the farm that I got this lamb from is called Woolly Mountain. Come on. Okay, we're gonna heat some olive oil in a 12-inch skillet over medium heat. Okay, so now the oil's hot. I'm gonna add the lamb. And I'm gonna try to just kind of put it in one layer so it begins to brown. Just gonna leave it for a minute. And I'm gonna salt it. Looking pretty good. I'm gonna start just gradually breaking it up. Like a lamb pancake. Look at that color. So you'll see the lamb is beautifully browned and it's broken down, or been broken apart rather. And I'm just gonna remove it. And I want some of this fat, but I don't want all of it. So I'm gonna leave about 2 tablespoons in here, and I'm gonna set the other fat aside. I'm gonna go ahead and add my aromatics to the pan. I turned my heat down to sort of medium low-ish. The pan got really hot. You might notice some smoke in here. And I'm gonna cook this for about 4 to 5 minutes until they become really soft and translucent. And then I'm gonna add the rest of my ingredients, and we're gonna continue building this sauce. Okay, totally lost track of time. I'm gonna add in a pinch of red pepper flake, cumin, and some cinnamon. Some tomato paste, about a tablespoon. Let it toast up for a minute with my spices. So I added in my spices and my tomato paste, and it smells so good in here. And I'm just gonna let that cook together for about a minute or so. Next, we're gonna add some red wine to deglaze the pan. There's some really beautiful brown bits that have formed from the lamb being cooked in there, and then the caramelization of the vegetables. So I want to deglaze. Let that reduce by half. So probably about 3 to 4 minutes. Tomatoes go in next. These are whole San Marzano tomatoes, which I prefer to use for most recipes. They're special tomatoes. You should know that. Also, I love that everything here is in French, as well as English, as well as Italian in this instance. Watch out, Chad. No, it didn't splatter at all. Disregard. So there's basil in here. I'm taking it out. I like to honestly just take a potato masher and do it right in the pan. Look at that. So easy. So the last thing that we need to do before we let this simmer is add the ground lamb back to the sauce. So now that will simmer for about 20 to 25 minutes. And this is a perfect time to put on your pasta water to start boiling. My water's come to a boil. I've added a lot of salt. It's come back to a boil. And now I'm gonna add in my pasta. So our pasta is just about done. I generally like to finish cooking my pasta in the sauce because it will just continue to absorb the flavors of the sauce and continue cooking, so you don't want to... Oh, there we go. So I'm gonna take this pasta and put it in there. I'm adding a little of the salty, starchy pasta water. This is probably about 8 ounces of pasta. I still think it's enough for 4 people. So to finish this dish, I'm gonna be using a local feta cheese, and this is a goat milk feta as opposed to a sheep milk feta. And we have lamb on the stove, and suddenly this is becoming a very barnyard shepherd party situation, and I'm here for it. And last but not least, some of our goat milk feta cheese. Just crumbled right on top. And now I get to take a bite. I'm very happy. It's delicious. The sauce has just a little hint of cinnamon and cumin and has been cooking together, so everything is just like working together really nicely. And the little bit of feta cheese on top is salty, and it also adds a little bit of creaminess, and the mint is just lovely. So I hope you enjoy and make this at home. Thanks for tuning in.